And good morning, New Mexico. We are 99.9 FM, M810. You are listening to Rusty Nut Show right here on your favorite radio station with yours truly and Mr. Rusty Nut himself, Gabriel Garcia of the Auto Angel.
Loud and proud, Patricio. Good morning, hermano. How are you?
I am doing great, but you want to get the producer, you want to get Bubba upset with you?
Bubba's picking on me, man.
No,
Sending me obscene messages.
you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be doing the countdown when we see a 5, 4, 3. You're just supposed to be
Oh,
quiet.
nobody
But
told me I had to be quiet. You guys should have known when you started with me that should have been in writing.
the great thing is, you know what? We're live all the time, so it doesn't matter. How's it going? How was the weekend?
We're spoiled rotten, hermano. How about you?
No complaints. It was a good weekend. Gracias a Dios.
Yes, sir. I took the kiddo out to White Sands. We went and played around in the sand. It was like 75 degrees down there Friday.
No kidding. Isn't it
It was
crazy
nice.
how
It was like
warm?
a beach, man. It was awesome.
Yep. It's
We were
last
sliding
week's
down the
spring break.
dunes, everything. It was awesome.
Hey, of course, I'm going to turn it around. What's the mission of this show, the Rusty Nut Show, Gabriel?
So those of you who just tuned in, maybe by accident, you're flipping through the dial, maybe you're regulars, or maybe you heard about the show. This is the Rusty Nut Show brought to you by KSWV Radio and the Auto Angel Incorporated. Our mission here is to teach you about the second largest investment in life being your automobile, how to keep it in front of the tow truck. So once again, the only thing you spend more on than an automobile is a home. And our goal of this show is to empower anybody listening how to make good choices with your hard-earned dollars.
Very good. Also, we want to thank Advanced Auto Parts on Siler Road, big sponsor of this show, and we appreciate it very, very much. And we appreciate
Yes,
all
we
you
do.
listening. Lots of people
Oh,
listen, and if you want to text us, you can text me at 660-3939, or you can text 989-7441. We may not get to it this show, but we will get to it sooner or later.
yes, sir. And thank you for that. I mean, this guy looked like he's reading that. Hey, and,
No.
and I this shows an attitude of gratitude. I wouldn't be able to give back in this way if it wasn't for, first of all, KSWV Radio giving us the voice to be heard all over northern New Mexico. We really appreciate you inviting us to be part of this, Patricio. Of course, our team here at the Auto Angel, without them, I wouldn't have the freedom to be on the radio or on the internet with you live. So we're on the internet too. You can even see Patricio's mug. I got mine covered still with this mascara because I'm in the COVID zone still. So thanks to David, Antonio, Todd, Emilio, Adan, Norma, Owen, and Antonio. He's on vacation this week. So if you're listening, bro, hope you're having a good week. You deserve to get a break from all of us, no doubt, and us from you, no doubt. I gotta say hi to Summer, even though she's back at school. She went back on the hybrid, so she's probably not listening today. But her beautiful mom might be, and my mom. Hi to my mom, and hi to my sister Susana, and we got lots of highs to keep coming from. How about you, Patricia? You got a quick hello to somebody?
Well, I want to say hi to Ranger over at the New Old Trail Santa Fe Garage. He's going to jump on and do a little bit of advertising. So I wanted to welcome him to Swatter Radio.
Orale,
So Ranger,
nice.
yeah,
I like that. That's a
he's a
good
wise
idea.
man doing that. You know what I mean?
Man, I was thinking about him this week. Yesterday, I think we were over at the park by Laragoite, and I bought a basketball and I was shooting some hoops. And they have one of those ones for like the third graders. It's only like 6 feet off the ground.
That's the
So
one I like.
yeah, he could dunk it there for sure.
I can't. I used to, maybe.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway, I was thinking of Ranger. That dude's fierce at basketball. Okay, back to the real deal. Red, white, and blue, thank you to all the enlisted servicemen and women, active duty, stateside, abroad, reservists, veterans, and most of all, the familias that support those brave men and women. We definitely want to thank them. There's always an empty seat at homes all over the United States, at kitchen tables, dining room tables, where someone's serving our country. So you and I, Patricio, can be here doing our thing. And everyone listening has the freedom to tune in.
Amen. Not only, of course, the military men and women, but their families, like you said, back home, our police officers, first responders, firefighters. They put that uniform on every day, not knowing. And I'm sure even with the firefighters and first responders, they see things that in our police, that we have we can't even imagine. And so we appreciate what you guys do because
we definitely appreciate what
you guys put yourselves out there.
They put themselves in harm's way for people they don't know, like you and I. And a good way to thank them for their service and for our freedom, do the right thing when you have a chance. Tip your server, not just $2 all Cusco. Tip
Yeah.
them right. Put your shopping cart back when you instead of leaving it all tirado there on the island. Put it back where it belongs. Do things that are hold the door open for someone that you don't know, or at least for your wife. Open the
I-
door for a car. Quit
If
being
you
all
uh
alone.
if you if you pack it in, pack it out, to our beautiful
There you
state
go. And
parks,
you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because that's almost like you read this thing. As
No,
Azul
great minds think
gracias. The
alike. Great
blue, the
minds.
blue collar thank you goes out to the Forest Service personnel. Special shout out to Leroy Leba. I know he's up there in Hyde Park. Usually is where he's stationed. He's one of my clients. I've known him and his brother for a long time. His dad. They're the ones that deal with when you say when people don't pack it out, or they see the trash overloaded, you still see a garbage bag on top of the trash. It's like, come on, like you
Yeah.
said, you packed it in, take it
Pack
out. Don't let the
and
squirrel spread it all over the sierra over there.
yeah, and then you're over going to be complaining and whining. We have the greatest state parks, our forest, BLM, and so take care of what God's blessed us with, right? And that's
Yeah,
what
one
this
hundred
show is about,
percent, bro.
taking care of our vehicles as
Taking
well.
care. There we go. And now, Norma, you almost ready for a Spanglish lesson?
Yeah, Norma,
Está
qué
lista, me
bárbara.
dijo. A ver, here we
Well,
go.
and
The,
of course,
the
you're listening to the Rusty
notorious
Nut Show.
Norma Vigil.
Rusty Nut Show right here on
Hola,
99.9
buenos días
FM
a
and
todos, ¿cómo están?
810. Buenos días, Norma, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien, ¿se portaron bien este fin de semana?
Claro que sí.
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
Eh, y la palabra de hoy, the Spanglish word de
Bueno,
hoy,
van a ser dos palabras porque hoy van a hablar acerca de preventive maintenance. So, va a ser mantenimiento de prevención,
mantenimiento
de prevención.
de prevención.
Sí,
So that's preventive maintenance.
yes,
And
that's
Gabriel's
how it
putting
is.
he's doing this behind your head, Asina, he's doing that,
Yo
making
sé,
signs.
está haciendo
Malcriado.
diablito, está malcriado, mira, ahí
He,
está,
he
de
should be
malcriado.
the name of his shop should be the instead of the auto
Míralo,
angel,
mira.
it should be
Yo
the auto
sé,
devil, el
yo
diablo.
sé, yo sé.
Well, you have a good day, Norma. God bless you and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, and God bless to everyone that is listening today, okay? Have a
Bueno,
nice day.
bye bye.
Bye-bye.
We are 99.9 FM, M810. Of course, you're listening to the Rusty Nut Show right here on your community radio station with Mr. Rusty Nut himself, Gabriel Garcia of the
Aquí
Auto Angel.
estoy.
We want to thank Advanced Auto Parts as well. And of course, Gabriel and his Whistleberries, good morning to all his
Powered
Whistleberry
by
friends.
Whistleberries. It's loud and proud.
There you
No
go,
doubt.
brother. There you go.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you, Norma, for that. I appreciate it, taking the time to be on the air with us, Patricio. So we left off with the Spanglish lesson of the day, and then you guys were calling me on malcriado. I am bien malcriado y mal pagado, pero contento me andabas, brother.
That's right.
Let's
That's
get
right.
into, we're talking today about avoidable issues. Keep it a cavity is kind of the goal here. And we don't want to let that cavity turn into a root canal. Preventative maintenance is, there's a dentist here in town, Dr. Tafoya, and he might agree that you're going to flush the ones you want to keep, Patricio.
Okay.
If you don't brush them, he'll yank them. He don't care. If you're going to let him rot, he'll take care of you. He's there to help you, but you have a chance to use preventative maintenance in your favor. So we're going to talk about a flat tire. Just this morning, I had a young lady come in with a loose tire, meaning she had to change it on the side of the road or something. So it was a tire that came in for us to repair. And all it had was a screw in it, and it was in a place that's definitely serviceable. So there's a certain portion of the tire that you can fix it legally and correctly. But the problem is it's obvious that it was driven with no air long enough to destroy it from the inside out. And we know that because when we take the tire off the wheel, inside the tire is a bunch of, basically it's like sawdust, but it's rubber. And as the tire was flat, it was being, you got a 2,000-pound plus corner of the car. It's a 6,000-pound car, and it's all that weight on it. Even 100 feet might be enough to damage a flat tire. So obviously you want to get out of harm's way if you have a flat while you're driving down the road, but the sooner you can pull over, the better. So let's talk about that a minute. So we went from a free flat repair would have been to plug, take the screw out of the tire and put a patch plug in it and do it right, balance the tire and put it back on the car. But now they destroyed the tire and it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. And with an all-wheel drive vehicle, having all 4 tires the same overall diameter is critical. So we've talked about that before in the show, that if you have an all-wheel drive car, you can't buy just one tire as they wear. So they have to match in size. So now this customer's facing the dilemma of, does she risk driving around on one tire that's larger than the other 3 and maybe ending up needing a transmission later down the road, or buy all 4 tires over one that had a screw in it? Go ahead, a ver.
I got a profound question for you, brother. I got a profound one.
A ver, let's see.
So I was thinking there's a lot of people that really aren't not even mechanically inclined, maybe don't even know how to put air in their tire, maybe don't even know what to do.
And don't
What
want
would
to
you
know.
recommend? What would you recommend to somebody who's really not that way, that can even stop and put air in their tires or anything else like that? Go to where they buy them? Is that what you're gonna
It
say?
depends. I mean, on a Sunday, she might not be able to go where she bought it, on a Saturday even, or at nighttime. But, being able to pull into a place that offers air, even one of these service stations, like a gas station, a lot of times you can buy air.
Right.
If you don't know how to do it, you could try the owner's manual. If you're not confident with that, you could always try your phone, Google or something like that, or even roadside assistance. A lot of vehicles have roadside assistance, meaning there's a 1-800 number in the glove box to something. Get them a tow truck there. So a lot of these people belong to AAA. There's help out there.
Right.
And for the inconvenience that seems like huge, I got to take 20 minutes out of my night or an hour out of my day to deal with this, compared to now facing, $600 or $800 worth of tires that otherwise there's nothing wrong with them, but good luck selling 3 tires.
Right. And
so that's the dilemma she's in. So totally avoidable was the point of that story.
Very good. Yep. And that's because they didn't maintain their tire the way they should and check it.
So the reality is that the light probably came on, that it was low, and they probably just were afraid or almost home or close to it, near town or something. I don't know the whole story. It doesn't really matter. I think the summary there is, I joke about it. Call Paul, and that's a reference to Padilla's towing. So if the tire light comes on and you can clearly feel that the tire's flat, or you get out and look and it's flat, don't keep driving it. And if you don't know how to change it, then what do? Call Paul, call a tow truck, call somebody.
Very good.
And get the help that you need, because that inconvenience is going to save you hundreds of dollars in the long run, and potentially $1,000 if you do this wrong. So if she avoids buying the other 3 tires and ends up destroying the transmission, now you're looking at thousands of dollars all over a screw in your tire. Totally avoidable.
Got it.
Andale, pues. That's what we
I want to thank Bubba. He's throwing up there on the screen for those of you watching us on.
You need to reword that, bro. He's
Facebook.
not throwing up.
He's throwing up. He's putting up preventive maintenance, the topic we're talking about. You know what I mean? He's putting it on the screen. So good job. There it is right there. Preventive maintenance. That's the topic of the day. Keep it going, Gabriel. What's next?
Andale, let's get to the next one. Fluid conditions. This is something that we have discussions here all the time with clients, that, something like, I'm going to use transmission fluid as a example. So you take your vehicle in, let's say at its 30,000 mile interval for an oil change to a shop that you trust, and that facility recommends a transmission service based on mileage. And then maybe you don't agree to it that day, and maybe you get a second opinion, and maybe the second opinion says, well, the fluid looks clean, don't service it, it's premature, the fluid's not even dirty, why are you changing it? The whole idea of maintenance, that's a simple word. And I kind of printed off the definition out of Google of maintenance. And it says the act of keeping property or equipment in good condition by making repairs and correcting problems, etc. And it goes on and on. But waiting for the fluid to get dirty is kind of like, I made an example here. It's like, waiting for your teeth to look like they're rotting before you have them clean. By the time you could tell they're all roñoso, they're probably rotted. They probably need a cavity. Yeah, you're going to be all malacho.
Mis dientes, mira, porque no, yo no estaba manteniendo mis dientes.
Entonces parece jack-o'-lantern, and it's not cheap, Even that, there was the comedian Jeff Foxworthy used to joke that to get your money's worth, you should really go to the dentist with your teeth all roñoso, because everybody brushes them because they don't want to be embarrassed. At the dentist office, they don't want to go over there and have a bunch of chia seeds in their teeth. They look like the chia plant,
Right.
Anyway, so long story short, there is, just because your fluid doesn't look dirty doesn't mean you should wait for it to get dirty to justify the service of it. Following those guidelines of a reputable facility and the manufacturer recommendations, sometimes it's a combination of the two that it takes for you to come up with an answer. And the reason that topic gets to be sensitive is that a lot of these transmission services are not inexpensive anymore. You might have a $350 service or more. We see some of these big diesel trucks and stuff there have a $600 tranny service, but it could be $8,000 tranny also. So all of a sudden, you're starting to see the value in maintaining it, and that doesn't even include the breakdown, the tow, the hotels, all that. Where you're towing your fifth to the desert, and all of a sudden the tranny goes because you never took care of it. There's a bunch of added expense that comes along with that lack of maintenance.
Yep. And with technology today, Gabriel, a lot of people say if you're old school, change your oil every 3,000 miles, but you have said that they've changed that a little bit.
There's a lot of changes with engine oils. There's the changes in the engines. So, again, this show we target 12-year-old vehicles is kind of the target. That's about the average age of vehicles on the road in the United States today. Those vehicles have anywhere from 0W20 oil in them. We're seeing them even 016 on these later models. And we're seeing oils that have the capability of lasting 15,000 miles between services. We see some engines that don't even have dipsticks coming out of the factory now. So, what does an oil change cost you? Are you doing enough mileage to justify that 3,000 mile mark? For some of you listening, I use my mom as an example all the time. Mom, she's going from the church to the house, maybe to Food King once in a while. It takes her forever to rack up 3,000 miles. So 2 oil changes for her a year, while expenditure for a bunch of reasons. The main thing is get your mind out of just the oil change. In some cases, the oil change is so much more than that. You're not getting just an oil and filter when you get an oil change. You're getting the air pressure in the tire checked. You're getting the tranny fluids checked. You're getting the washer fluid topped off. You're getting so many other things that go along with it. I mean, we find rodents' nests in air filters that'll ruin an engine if you don't deal with it. And those things don't get noticed unless a human opens the hood.
And pesky vermin's gotta be done away. You know what I mean?
I love them. Those things, those little rodents making feria all over town for mechanics.
Hey, you're listening to the Rusty Nut Show right here on 99.9 FM, AM810 with Gabriel Garcia of the Auto Angel. And of course, we want to thank Advanced Auto Parts, great sponsors. They're right there on Siler Road for all your automotive needs. Speaking of oil or fluids, they have it there. Just don't be a ruin it yourselfer like me and put in maybe the wrong fluid, algo ajena, right?
There you go. Don't be like Patricio. Read the book, read the owner's manual, get some help. I use the real live stories that we deal with here on a regular basis to kind of, inspire the show every week. And since I was talking about fluids, we recently had a 2017 van towed in here, a full-size van. I'm not going to name the make and model because I don't want to be defaming or taking away from, but it's a popular make. They've been around forever, and it does have a supporting dealer in the city. So it's a big enough name brand. So this couple bought this van. They bought it owned or pre-loved is how some people like to call them because they joke about that. But they bought it out of an out-of-state dealer, and they drove it here. They were able to purchase one oil change here, but they weren't even able to get plates on it yet. In the time that they purchased the one oil change, they've managed to put 5,000 miles on it already. And they ended up with the engine basically seizing. And the diagnosis turned out to be that the engine was full of sludge. What's sludge? Sludge is when a vehicle went a long period of time without oil changes. So someone who owned it before ignored the manufacturer's recommendations and just drove the van. Maybe they must have added oil when it needed, but it never got the amount of oil changes that it needed. And so therefore the oil turned into more like a jelly, almost like just a black, like that stuff that comes in the Vienna sausage can. There you go. See,
I know what you're talking about. That gel.
That stuff, yeah. So that's what looks
yet.
like inside the oil pan. Yeah. You probably don't want to eat lunch now after you heard that. Yeah. Anyway, and really what it turned out to is that customer didn't have a lot of ground to stand on because they bought it pre-owned. They couldn't prove that they had been taking care of the maintenance. The manufacturer warranty doesn't cover sludge. So now they're really relying on the dealership that sold it to maybe help them get some kind of warranty because that's a $15,000 engine estimate. I mean, that's an insane amount of money that they're going to have to out of pocket on a fresh purchase. And that all
Yeah,
came from a lack of maintenance in its previous owners' care.
and one of the things is that we encourage people to do is to ask questions. Gabe's big on asking questions, whether you take your vehicle to the Auto Angel or you're buying a new car. Make sure you ask all the questions and don't be afraid, because unless you're in the automotive business, then you're not going to know too much, especially in taking care of your second biggest investment, keeping you in front of the tow truck, not arriba del tow truck.
Arriba,
Right.
not
So
behind.
don't
We
be
want to
afraid to
be
ask questions.
adelante.
Don't be
Well,
afraid.
and
And if somebody,
Go
real
ahead.
quick, and if somebody's short with you and doesn't want to give you the answers, that's probably the wrong place to go.
And in that case, that was a perfect storm where even, a pre-purchase inspection probably would not have identified that sludge, because it really requires engine disassembly to see it. From the dipstick, it's really hard to tell. I mean, it's just because the oil at the dipstick, inside the oil pan wasn't coming up gross. Even
Right.
then, if it comes up a little dark, you say it needs an oil change. You don't normally, it doesn't draw as big a red flag as you would think until after the fact. And
Okay.
sludge is caused by poorly designed, defective crankcase ventilation system, stuff like that. But really, what it boils down to is a lack of maintenance. All that sludge was avoidable if whoever would have owned it would have got a couple oil changes a year at least, or in this case, sounds like more frequent because they were using it so much. I mean, it only had 40,000 miles, but they built up a bunch of sludge in that short period of time. Let's move to the round rubber things. What do we call them?
The round
Llantas,
washers.
hombre. Tires.
Washers.
We're going to go to the tire, bro.
Well, you talked about tires already once.
Well, we're going to touch on just maintenance. So we're going to just talk about rotating them.
Okay.
So according to Michelin, I found this online that tires are rotated to ensure that they last longer, wear evenly, and keep you safe. There's so many different tires and makes and recommendations, but an average is going to be, every other oil change is what we used to go by when we had 3,000-mile intervals. So at least every 6 to 8,000 miles on a tire rotation. Rotating tires shouldn't be ignored. The front tires primarily are doing a lot of the braking, because remember, the front brakes do 70% of the work as compared to the rear. So the front tires, you got to remember that. Oh, look, she wants to be live. She's throwing our parts around on
Hey,
her.
who is
Hello,
that,
Jessica.
man? Hi, Jessica.
Say
How
hi to
are
her
you?
dad.
Hey.
Hi. She's
Thank
running
you for
away. She
waving.
don't want nothing to do with it. Anyway, so what happens
She was
when you
probably,
walk
I don't think she was throwing the part. She was throwing something at you, I would think.
Now, I hope it has a warranty, because I got a hard head. Anyway, the thing about tire rotation a lot of times is you can look in the owner's manual and it'll describe whether you should just rotate fronts to back or whether you should cross the rears to the front, or there's a whole bunch of different reasons why tires should be handled a certain way. And on some vehicles, rotating them is not even an option because they're different size front to rear. But anyway, I just wanted to reinforce the fact that you have the potential to get your money's worth out of a very expensive investment by just keeping on the maintenance.
And make sure, as I always say, go with somebody you trust, where they're going to be honest with you. That's the Auto Angel or Garcia Tires. Visit
Garcia
Lee there on Airport
Tire.
Road. There you go.
Lee. Boom.
Lee. Okay, we got about 4 minutes, boss.
4 minutes. I have time
4 minutos tenemos.
Did you ever have one of those tias that she would take her chunk off and hit you with it?
Not really, because I was.
I have a tia. I'm not gonna say her name, but she would yell at us to brush our teeth and to go to bed so loud that even the neighbors would brush their teeth and go to bed, bro.
Oh yeah.
She had the whole body on.
Is she listening to you?
I doubt it, but if she is, she knows who I'm talking about.
Give us her initials.
No way, man. I ain't say nothing because she might come back. I just saying, I have a tia like that was, tough enough to keep us in line. She even had a baton in the car. She'd swing it at you.
Very good. Yeah, they're pretty cool and feisty.
She kept us in our orders. Well, Fleischwater, I don't know, a baton.
So what's next on the maintenance?
So the main thing that I wanted to get out today's show was that I think the biggest one I see that's avoidable is these new transmissions are called CVTs. And we've touched on them a little bit, but the manufacturers, if you read through your books, they don't even have a specification for mileage on those. I see a lot of other trannies that have 100,000-mile intervals, yet you go into their supporting dealership. And remember, dealerships are mostly independent auto repair facilities that just have a relationship with that brand to be able to produce or do work for them. But in the service base, they still have the ability to advise clients based on the facts that they see that car needs. So even at a dealership level, they might be saying, we recommend that your CVT be serviced at 30,000, even though your book doesn't say to. And sometimes a client will feel like they're being oversold, and they really do have their best interests in mind. Javier, hands up.
So what is CTB or CBD or CT?
CVT, as in Charlie Victor Tom. It's a transmission for a constant velocity transmission. And the reason I use that word is the maintenance on it's not super difficult. It's just expensive. The fluid's expensive, and the process for which to get the level correct is expensive. And those transmissions are not repairable. They're disposable. So you take a car that never got serviced, it's got 90,000 miles on it. The people are still making payments, and they need a $3,000 or $5,000 tranny, and no one ever even told them to service it, or they ignored it. So for those of you listening, if you're getting away with a maintenance-free car, if you really want to keep it, you want to get somebody in your corner who has your best interests in mind to try and keep those actual repairs more affordable as maintenance rather than repair costs.
How about real quick, the hoses? You know what I mean? People during the cold, during the hot,
The
the
tripas,
hoses.
the mangueras.
Yeah, what do you guys say about that?
Tripas. That's what Norma should have done the Spanglish lesson. Tripas. Anyway, so the rubber hoses, again, we're talking about a 12-year-old car on average. That 12-year-old car already has 120 to 140,000 miles on it. If one of them rubber hoses were to fail, and you're on the side of the road with an antifreeze leak, and you get towed in and you have it fixed, you're not going to feel that bad about it. You're going to say, well, that hose was 12 years old. No wonder why it failed. So the Auto Angel, we have a policy here that whenever we see a car that's 10 years old or has 100,000 miles on it, we at least bring it to a customer's attention that these hoses are old. Currently, they're fine. They're not threatening you, but they do deserve a conversation. And what we'll have our clients do is, like, if you're planning a trip to Disneyland in July across the Mojave and you're going to have a U-Haul behind it or something, then maybe you should really consider getting all those hoses done. And for those of you listening, some of these cars, we've done some that have 14 hoses. Again, I'm going to stay out of makes and models because I don't want to make anyone feel like one makes better than the other. But a lot of times, Patricio might have thought that there's only 2 radiator hoses and you're done. No. There's a lot of little rubber hoses that transfer antifreeze from one place to another. Did I do okay with that, or I confused you?
I love it. That was perfect. I like it. So give us your certified rusty nut opinion to end this show, baby.
The certified rusty nut opinion is, if you have a concern like a flat tire, call a tow truck if you can't deal with it yourself. Do not drive on that tire. You're liable to cost yourself not only hundreds, but maybe thousands of dollars if it's not handled correctly.
Very good. I love it.
If you're the roofer spilling those nails all over town, cut it out.
Ya, estate quieto, hijo. Hey, we want to thank, of course, Gabriel and the Auto Angel. Good people. 424-3899. The great thing about Gabriel and his familia and his staff there, they're honest. They'll tell you exactly what's up, and then they give you the choice, and that's what you want. You want somebody who you can trust. Gabriel there at the Auto Angel. We want to thank Advanced Auto Parts. And, of course, you've been listening to the Rusty Nut Show right here on 99.9 FM, M810. We want to thank Bubba, a producer. Good job, Bubba. I like all them words at the bottom. Bubba, go.
Yeah, don't be throwing them up there.
Peace out. Continue listening to the great music right here on 99.9 FM, M810.
See you next week.